Big warm welcome to everyone for the final masterclass for February. Boy, oh boy, I think I say this at the beginning of every call, but far out, I just can't believe how quick this year is going. Month two nearly done and dusted, which is pretty cool, hey, because it's a standard of measurement. We get to measure how our creations are, going, how we're showing up, how our lenses are going. And so I hope that everyone, that your lenses are going really well for you, that you're in massive creation. And so welcome those that are on live. And of course, if you're watching the replay, it is so good to have you join us as well. Just as a reminder, if you have any questions, especially if you're watching the replay, but we have our Q&A my Tuesday, so if you have any questions, absolutely please just fill in the document, which you will find in the calendar. And I believe at the bottom of every replay as well, there should be the link that you can click on if you're watching the replay to go ahead and fill in any questions as you have them, as they come up. But I'm excited about today's topic. Before we jump into today's topic, how did everyone go with stepping into your circles? So last week's masterclass was about avoiding disapproval. It was a very, very powerful conversation that we had, and we immersed ourselves into the two circles. One was the avoiding disapproval. The other was expressing yourself. So let me know in the chat box for those of you that are here on live, how did you go? Have you been just stepping into them each day, stepping into them each day just to flesh out? If you haven't, it might just be, it's just a reminder, isn't it, you don't need to stay in each circle for very long, but it's just getting the essence of what it's like being in that circle of avoiding disapproval, as opposed to being in the circle of expressing yourself. You'd forgotten? That's all right, Debbie. I would highly suggest that you do it each day. It's really good to do for at least 7 days, if not even a couple of weeks. It literally can take you less than a minute to immerse yourself in both. And why is that important? It's important because when we can be in the energy of one and then we cross it out, it's the lower way of being, and then step into the other, then it gives a very clear indication to our consciousness. So welcome those that are jumping on in live now. So we're just having a little bit of a recap from last week. I was just checking in to see who has each day been stepping into those two circles to just really flesh out the energy of the both. And obviously, after being in the avoiding the disapproval circle, we know what that feels like, what that looks like, and that's not what we want. So we kind of cross it out and in our mind, and then immerse ourselves in the being our fullest expression, expressing ourselves, and then we choose that one. So good. Not each day. Some have forgotten. That's okay. This is your reminder, because it is super powerful. It is super powerful. And if you're watching this replay, and you haven't gone and joined last week's masterclass, Avoiding Disapproval, highly recommend it. It was super powerful. Cool. You're going to listen to that one, Karen. Nice. So today's conversation is all about creative habits, because Habits are so important to look at and to discuss. So I'm excited. And, having creative habits, it serves us in growing our power. And, that is what we want to be doing, right? We want to be growing our power. We know that we're powerful, and we want to grow our power. We want to grow our creativity. We want to be creating our big, beautiful, and inspiring visions. And it's obvious that growing or cultivating our power is best serviced if it's a habit. Yeah, like we want it to become a habit. So what are the habits that support us in cultivating our power? What are the habits that support us in cultivating our habit? Let me say that again. What are the habits that support us in cultivating our power? So we all know that structure has integrity, don't we? We all know that structure has integrity. And depending on what structure we are in, our outcome will always be very different. Would you agree? Depending on what structure we are in, our outcome will always be different. We're going to have different outcomes. Yes. Yeah. And you see, if you're in your victim orientation, nothing can come out other than, being a victim, isn't it? Nothing can come out of your victim orientation other than a victim experience, resulting in a victim reality. True. Yeah. And who wants that? Who wants to be in a victim orientation that creates a victim experience, that creates a victim reality? Who wants that? I know none of you, no one on this call wants that. None of you that are listening to the replay. Not me. However, it can be very easy to create. Can I repeat that again? If you're in your victim orientation, nothing can come out of your victim orientation other than a victim experience. And that results in a victim reality. You see, if you're in the creative orientation, nothing can come out of that other than an experience connected to your greatness and your power. And we can't deny that, can we? We can't deny that depending on what orientation we are in, we're going to create a different reality. One is a reality that we don't desire, and one is a reality that we do. And it's your focus that creates your reality. Not what you're doing, not what you're learning. It's your focus. It's your focus, who you're being, the way that you're being. Whatever you think is creating your results, it's not. Unless you think it's your focus. And that is all that it is. So we want to get into a habit, don't we, of where is our focus? Like we want to get into a habit of focusing on what serves us. If your energy, your focus is predominantly in the end result of what it is that you want to create, then it will be created. It will manifest. And I want you to take your choices, like grab your choices if you have your choices with you, or just think about them and look at each of them and ask yourself, is my energy predominantly, my energy, my focus, it's, it's the same thing, right? Is my energy predominantly in the end result? And that doesn't mean that you're simply doing your choices each day, does it? Like, I don't mean, am I in the end result of my choices each day by spending that time in the morning and visualizing it and what it looks like and how it feels. I want to know, is your focus and your energy predominantly in the end result? Let me know in the chat box. That would be a no. Because if it's not in the end result, it's in the current reality or in the circumstances or trying to figure it out or not even doing anything at all. Maybe your energy's not even plugged into it at all, into them at all. The more energy is in the end result, the more the more dramatically it's going to be created. You think about it. The more you lift weights, the quicker your muscle's going to come. Focus is always what I'm doing or need to do. Some of your choices are, mostly yes, in the end result. We've got to come from that place of being in the vision, hey? And it's such a brilliant way of living, of creating. It's the natural state of things, isn't it? It just is how it is. And you align yourself with how things work, how it works, how consciousness works, how the universe works. We give our energy to being in that end result, unattached to anything other than that. Our structure, our focus creates our reality. Because it's our focus that creates the structure, right? Just so there's no confusion. Our structure creates our reality, our focus creates our reality, because if whatever we're focused on creates that structure. You see, if you desire money, but know in the past that when you created it, it sucked the energy, out of you, then your actual focus is to avoid this happening, even though it's the money that you desire. The focus is not on getting, the focus is not on getting the energy sucked out of you more than, creating the money. Or sorry, the focus is, ensuring that you don't get the energy sucked out of you. So it's a structure. So think about like another example. It could be like the same with with a relationship. That the person has to be perfect. And if your focus is on that, as opposed to just having a really beautiful relationship. So what examples might there be? What examples might there be? See, how can you have the end result with a demand, or with that kind of focus? How can you have an end result when the person has to be perfect? How can you have an end result when you're trying to not let something suck the energy out of you? You have one, Debbie? Do you want to write it or do you want to just verbalize it? You can just unmute if you want.
Okay. So tell me if this fits in here. So yesterday I had a mammoth day
Mm-hmm.
in creating, and then so I needed to get my flyers done and my event page done. I went to Officeworks, and my I could anyway, I had to change my flyer because the dimensions were wrong. So then I needed to upgrade Canva, which was another $53 to be able to change my dimensions. And so I'm looking at my bank account going, another $53. I haven't got another $53 to be able to do that. But I did, but that had to come out of something else that was coming out of my account. And so I was in my end result, but then taken back to my past, being in my current reality rather.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah. And then the guy said, do you know that you have to book these in? You can't just get them printed on the day. Well, no one explained that to me because I needed them for today. So I got home and in a emotional turmoil, and then and Shane just said to me, gave me $100 this morning. So don't worry about it. Here's the money. But I was staying in my end result all day until I got to Officeworks, and then it was so quickly I went back into past.
Yeah. And then how did you show up in that space?
In lack.
Yeah. And
Lack.
victim, right? It's like a victim orientation.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, yeah, 100%. Love it. Yeah. And okay, cool. I'm just gonna pop you back. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Because that's just it, isn't it? Like when we get knocked out and then our focus, our orientation shifts, our focus shifts, we're knocked out of actually just focusing on the end result. And then it's like, oh, this is in the way, this is the limitation, this is the expectation. So yeah, beautiful. Beautiful. I love it. I love it. And it's like, how can we create the end result when we have a different focus now? So we want to be reorientating. If we're in victim or creative orientation, it's very different, isn't it? How things are going in our lives, it's structural. Whatever's showing up in your life, it's structural. It's what structure you're in. Wait to see if I answer the question by the end of this, Karen. How do you reorientate? Well, reorientation is really just a choice, isn't it? It's noticing that you're in it and then refocusing. So my question to you is, have you ever thought about how your habits hold your structures? Have you ever thought about it? How your habits hold your structures? It's your habits that hold your structures in place. You think about it. Your habits form your victim and hold that orientation in place. And it's other habits that form and hold your creative orientation in place. The question is, how well is your victim orientation held, and how well is your creative structure or orientation held? The more masterful you are, the more your creativity is held. The more masterful you are, the more your creativity is held and less of your victim. It's your habits, it's your behavior. So let's take a really quick glance at what holds, what habits hold a victim structure in place. What habits hold a victim structure in place? Resolving tension. Resolving tension, taking the path of least resistance, reacting to something, entertaining reservations and worries or buying into the tension and making it mean something that it's not. Giving the power away. Buying into what comes up for you, So buying into, like Debbie was explaining before, about being in lack and this wasn't expected and that wasn't expected and that's going to cost money. So it's like buying into whatever's coming up for you, making it mean something, defining yourself relative to a situation. Or, habits that hold a victim structure in place can be, something happens and then you're like, you're colluding with others and trying to get them to be on your side, when you're in your stuff or being a victim and, So would you agree that it's inevitable that stuff will come up? Stuff is going to come up for you. Stuff is going to come up for me. Would you agree? Give me a yes in the chat box if you agree. Stuff is going to come up. Yeah, of course. Of course it is. And sometimes the more that you go for what you want, the more that you go for what you want, the more stuff comes up. Have you ever felt that? It's like, oh, I create my true choices. Oh, now this stuff's come up. Oh, yeah, I'm totally going for this thing. Now this has come up. Doesn't it? The more you go for what it is that you want, the more stuff comes up. However, it's up to you, it's up to all of us as individuals as to how much we buy into it. Do we buy into it? Do we let it take control? Because that is a habit, right? That's actually a habit, a pattern, dysfunctional pattern, however you want to interpret it. How much do you buy into it? How much do you, because when we buy into it, this is just what's coming up for me visually now. Like when we buy into it, it's like it's pulling us away from, like further and further away from what it is that we're truly wanting to desire. Yeah. So what habits, we've looked at the habits that hold a victim structure in place. What habits are held in the creative structure? And I want you to type it in the chat box. I want you to think about what habits are held in the creative structure. Making choices, following through, self-awareness. When we're aware and we can acknowledge where we are, how we're showing up, who we're being. Very powerful. What other habits are held in the creative structure? Checking in with ourselves, acknowledging where we're at, embodying our genius, using the tools to support. Yeah, starting every day is a new day. Starting every moment is a new moment, isn't it? Habits that are held in the creative structure are being disconnected from your past. You see, victims, we buy into something. It's like we're buying into the bullshit. You know, we're buying into the circumstances and the emotions and the thoughts and the things that are coming up. Whereas when we're in a creative, we're checking in. We check in. We're unattached. We just check in. We just notice, and we stay focused on our end result. Do you notice the difference? Let me know in the chat box. Do you get it? Do you notice the difference? Victim habits are buying into the circumstance, buying into our emotions and our thoughts, buying into that's actually reality. Creative is checking in. We check in. We stay focused. Let me know if this is landing for you. Yes. Good. I love it. You see, we can't avoid things coming up. We can't avoid things happening, things presenting themselves, things not working out the way that we thought. That's human nature, isn't it? It's human nature. But you get to choose if you buy into it or you just check in. So what's your habit? I just want you to pause and think about that. What's your habit? When things don't go to, the way that you expect them to, what's your habit? And then we know that whatever habit that we're in, we're focused on something, right? So whatever habit we're in, we're focused on either resolving tension or hanging in the tension. When something comes up, is your focus on how to fix it, how it's crap, how you feel lack, defining yourself as not worthy? We know the things that can go in there, right? Or is your habit to pause and be like, shit situation, can't do anything about it. What's the end result? What's actually the outcome that I want? What's the outcome of what I want to create here? How I want to feel in this moment in time? They're so different and give so different outcomes, yeah? Step back, take some time, remind myself. It's just a wee blip, yeah. But also in that's beautiful to have that pause. And we remind ourselves, well, this is what it is. But we want to put our focus somewhere. So the bridge is to develop the right habits, to grow your power. It's more than just saying, yeah, I make and do these choices and when we do that, we stay in our end result. We have a ton of knowledge floating around, don't we? We have a ton of knowledge floating around. We know a lot about the creative world, the creative space. But do we actually formalize it? Do we make it a habit? Do we put it into practice? See, our habits are what's bleeding us. And when I think about, the bleeding, we can be totally bleeding out. When you're bleeding out, we're just like we're buying into. We're bleeding out, we're buying into, we're in victim. The only thing that can stop the bleeding is the replacement of habits that serve you. And you think about it, how many times does it come up for you that, I always do this, or this is my pattern. Yeah, I'm familiar with my pattern. This is my pattern. This is how it shows up. And then sometimes you laugh it off, or you don't really. Oh yeah, no, I get a little bit worried about judgment, or yeah, when this happens, I feel lack, or I feel insignificant. So we want to counter them with powerful habits. Powerful habits put you on the front foot of creation. Powerful habits is what orientates you and gets you moving, and not only orientates you, because it's not just about like where you position yourself and where you focus. By the way, anyone that's new to my world, this side is always the victim, fixing yourself, an orientation that doesn't serve you. This is always the alignment, the creative orientation. But powerful habits are what give you a powerful orientation and get you moving. They also short circuit you going into the victim orientation. Doesn't mean to say they stop it. So it's about viewing it in a way of, are you just going to, apply some of the foundations that you're learning? Just when we remember to? Only when we see ourselves in our stuff that's like, oh goodness, I better get back to doing my choices. Oh goodness, I better get back to taking that particular action. Or we're going to be proactive. And this is what I want for us all, is to be proactive, is to keep that momentum going, to keep being in that focus and that orientation, to keep checking in and knowing where you're at, and taking that obvious action, and being willing to be in the creative space, because it's not let me be in the creative space today and then let me just blob out in victimhood for the rest of the time. You see that, like, because we're plugging energy, we're either in one or the other. It's not, there's no in between area. We're either going for what it is that we want and creating that, or there's everything else. So that's the question. Are you ready to commit to being proactive? Being proactive. Give me some energy in the chat box. Are you committed to being proactive? Yes, yes. Good. Because I want that for you all. This is why I'm here. I want that for you all. I want that for everyone. And, not just because we're here together now and in the moment, because that can be easy, right? It can be easy to yes, it is time, Jennifer, totally. It can be easy, can't it, when we're in this space together and we're learning something, and we feel ignited, we feel powerful, we feel energized. It's not just this moment in time. This is a commitment for you. And this is a commitment for your life, because I tell you something, and I want you to really listen in on this. Your life depends on it. Your life depends on it. It depends on it. It depends on you having a creative habit, a habit of being in the creative orientation. Nice, Debbie. Had a powerful day yesterday and been up since 1 this morning creating. Holy heck. Beautiful. And it's high time that we think about it and dive deeper into it, like really put it to work, isn't it? Put it to work. Everything that we know about creating a life that we love, it's time to put it to work. So I want to know for you in this moment in time, what is landing for you? What's landing for you? What's occurring to you in this moment? Type it in the chat box. So true. Must realize that it's not a dress rehearsal. Yeah, it's not a dress rehearsal. Yeah, it is not a dress rehearsal. You're so right on with that. Yet we treat it like it. It's like, oh, well, I've just got all the time in the world, and let me just potter around. And no, it's time to really engage in this work and live it and have it as a habit. What's landing for you? What is landing for you? You can unmute if you want to, or just type it in the chat box. But I want you to really connect into this from your world, from your perspective. This is all really landing. Nice. 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 All landing for you as well. To write out your go to space when shit happens. Nice. Yeah, either creating or not. Habits, behavior. You see, we're always creating, aren't we? We're always creating. It's just whether we're creating a life that we love or we're creating more pain for ourselves. Hey, yeah. Stuff comes up and I need to shift my focus, my habits. Telling what shows me which orientation I'm in. Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. So let's not just pull all of this wonderful knowledge, all of this wonderful knowledge and put it, together and put it in a vault in a bank. Because that's kind of it, isn't it? You even think, for example, of our habits. At the beginning of this call, I talked about last week's masterclass, avoiding disapproval. And, we stepped into the 2 circles, which are very powerful. And I mentioned, hey, do this each day because it's really going to serve you. And, some didn't, some forgot about it, some done it some days and not. That's a really good example as well, isn't it? Of like getting the knowledge and then not using it. And I'm not here to say that you're bad or you're wrong. I'm here to beat yourself up. That's not it. But we want to be using it. Choose to be be functional as a creator. Choose to be functional as a creator. Notice when being a victim and then refocus. So a victim is reactive. A victim is has no power. Like the power is outside, and the power is in the everything else, the things not working out, the not having the money. The power is in the other people that are disrupting us, or the power is in not taking the action because of feeling insignificant, whatever. Whereas creative is proactive. It's feeling the fear and doing it anyway, not resolving the tension, not taking the path of release resistance. And the being creative, it shortcuts, or short circuits the reaction. It short circuits being a victim. And so it's not about escaping reaction. It's not about escaping being the victim. It's about noticing when you're there and then refocusing and being powerful. Because I'll say this time and time again, mastery it's never ever about trying to not ever lose focus. That's not mastery. That's not being human. That's not humanness. Like our humanness is, we are going to lose our focus. We're going to have times that that our focus is, in being reactive, being victim, being, in that orientation. What mastery is about, it's about refocusing. Like you catch yourself before you fall down the super slippery slope. You catch yourself before you drop fully into the big swing of the pendulum and swing for days on end. Right? That's what mastery is. It's catching yourself as you're going down, or as you're starting to be in the swing, and then refocusing and putting yourself back at the top of the swing of the pendulum. Putting yourself back to your higher way of being, putting yourself back into that genius, putting yourself back into being powerful, putting yourself back into being whole, being complete. Reaction is a human dynamic. You will get triggered. We're all going to get triggered, but we want to catch ourselves and put ourselves back in alignment. So let's check in to solid creative habits. Nice, I'm pleased that you like that, Karen. Check in on solid creative habits. Follow through. Follow through. Always, always, not just sometimes. Not just sometimes. When we follow through, and I was actually talking about this with Ange today. This is the cool thing about living in the same town. She actually popped up. She popped up yesterday. Popped in for a quick visit, and we're actually talking about momentum and follow through, and because we want to let it build and let things gain momentum. You see, if things are not working, then you're not doing it properly. It's not just doing it when it suits. We can't just follow through when it suits. we build on it. It's like, we do something and it works out and we just follow through and we do it again, and we get the nudges and we're getting we're getting the guidance. So we just keep on following through. That's what creates the momentum. So just know where where it is not working for you, you are getting exactly what it is that you want. You're getting exactly what it is that you want. You're staying small. You're not getting rejected. You want that more than what you want your choice or your end result. So you don't follow through on the thing. Get it? Like, let that land. If you're not following through, things aren't working out for you. You are actually getting exactly what you want. There's a benefit to it, and the benefit is, as I said, you stay small. There's no rejection. There's no there's no resistance. There's no tension. It's resolved. And so you want that more than you want your choice. You want that more than your end result. That's a bit of a kicker, isn't it? Because I know that you say to me, no, I know that my vision is true, and I know that your visions are true, and I know that your true choices are true, and I know that the end result that you want for yourself is true, and I know that on a self-conscious level that's what you will verbally say. However, it's our habits. Remember, our behavior is the highest form of communication to our consciousness, and it's our behavior that creates our outcomes. So I want you to think about that. When you're not doing the thing that you know that you need to do, when you're not willing to do it, you are saying that you're choosing your resistance. You want that more than you want the outcome. Oh, that hits, doesn't it? And I get it. I get it. So I kind of went off on a little bit of a of a flow there. So just bringing it back, checking into solid creative habits. Solid creative habits is follow through. That's a big one. Positive expectations. That is huge as well in creating, because how many of us actually positively expect something to work out? Or we're like, oh, this is going to be hard. Oh, well, it probably, I don't know, I'll try, or let me just see how it goes. We want to have positive expectations. Like, yeah, I positively expect this to happen. Like for me, I have a positive expectation that my creative development coaching business is going to be freaking huge. Like, it's not like, oh, let me just see how I go. It's like, no, I expect to be really, really wealthy. True. Have positive expectations. We're not living this life to toe dip. So what else, sits in the solid creative habits? Making choices, being in the end result. Being in the end result, but in the true elevated vision. The expansiveness of the truth of what it really is, that is something that I also see can happen. Receiving, being open to receive the finances, the clients that you want, the life that you desire. What else is there? Acknowledge. Acknowledge. A really powerful creative habit is acknowledging your current reality and desired reality, being in the both, without the current reality being bad or wrong, like it just is. This is just my current reality. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's not working out for you in your current reality, because that's not where you're going. That's not where your focus needs to be. So we acknowledge, here's my current reality, here's my desired reality. What does that do? It creates that creates structure. Current reality, I acknowledge it. I know where I am. Desired reality, yep, get it. I know what that is. This creates a structure. And then in that, my focus is here on my end result, being in the creative orientation. Checking in, being self-aware. Where am I right now? What's this essence? What's the undercurrent that I'm feeling? Oh, okay, if we think about, the circle work that we done last week, checking in. Oh, yeah, I'm avoiding disapproval. Okay. So let me use the higher over the lower. Let me use these tools. When I'm in this circle, this is how it feels. And then, so what's the higher way of being? Okay, expressing myself. How does that feel? So we check in, we know where we're at, and then we use the tools that we have to bring us into a higher way of being. We use the wisdom process to get that really clear information, that guidance of what's obvious, what's the obvious next step. We're in our identity, we be it, we take the action from that space. Is there anything that I've left out? Type in the chat box if you think there's anything left out. Is this good stuff? Is this good stuff? I hope it's really landing for you. I'm sure that it is. This is so amazing. Good, Philippa. I'm pleased that you're enjoying it. You see, great stuff. Good. You see, you're robbing yourself of power if you're not doing your choices. Beautiful, Debbie. And I've just given that pause because I want that to land. I mean, you're crazy. You're crazy if you're not doing your choices. You're crazy if you're not taking action on your choices. If you're not doing them, if you're not in the end result, if you're not in the elevated vision, if you're not consistent with being in the vision and taking the obvious action, you're robbing yourself. Here. It's really clicking today. Cool. I love that. I quite often have that comment that I get in people's head. So Angela says sometimes when things aren't ready and I'm frustrated, I hear Rochelle in my head saying, "It doesn't matter. Move on." Yes. Let me get in your head. You see, if you do choices consistently, you'll be way more powerful. You will be way more powerful and not just going through the motions. We've talked about that. Yeah. The less choice making, the less okay you are. And I know that, like, when I'm coaching someone one-on-one and they come to me in, the beginning of the call, I can feel the energy already and I'm like, oh, whew, they're in their stuff. And I say to them, I'll let them, talk a little bit, and I say, how are you doing with your choices? Are you doing them consistently each day? And, they just give me that look. What? No, I'm not. Okay. So no wonder you are where you are in this moment in time. Because we know, don't we, even doing the forecourt orientational choices, it orientates us. So why wouldn't you give 10 minutes, not even that, a day to it? Like, be consistent. You can easily give, is it true? We can easily give 10 minutes to social media or go and buy a coffee, but somehow we can't give 10 minutes to our choices. We can't actually give that time to our choices and then look at our day and then choose what aligned action we're going to take. Seriously? I mean, seriously, what the F? Will that coffee or social media give you more power than choices? No. I can honestly say that I've had a big mind shift in this week and so much has changed within you. Nice, I love that. So when we think about being in our vision of our choices, each and every day, noting what's the obvious thing that I can do, and then we're led by that, that is powerful. Is there anything that creates your outcomes better than first starting with choices? No. And yet, isn't it interesting that we put ourselves in the pain and we get overwhelmed and frustrated and all the things we actually put ourselves in that pain by not doing the things that serve us, like not actually being in the creative habits. So there's always a consequence. There's always a consequence for good habits and bad habits. Because the word consequence doesn't mean that it's a bad consequence. There's a consequence. There's an outcome for good habits and bad habits. Which one do you choose to develop? Which one do you choose to develop? And I'm really talking about which one are you committing to developing? Good habits? Creative habits? So what are our dysfunctional habits then? What are our dysfunctional habits? Entertaining reservations, procrastinating, giving the power away to resistance, taking the path of least resistance, resolving tension, blaming others, allowing yourself to be powerless, being a victim, finding excuses, going and doing other things, being defensive. Finding limitations, being in reaction, denying that you're the creator of it all, colluding. Coming to an agreement of where the power is outside of you. When you're establishing what's wrong, what are the things that are wrong? What's not going right? How other people are responsible for it. All of that it really is an act of not taking on responsibility. Getting others to agree with you, to buy into your, to buy into it. Oh, I can't do this because. All confirming our powerlessness. So we want to stick to the essentials, eh? So who agrees that it serves us to cut out our dysfunctional habits and establish good habits? Who agrees with that? Give me a yes in the chat box. We're going to go a little bit over time today, I think. I've still got some things that I want to, yeah? Yes. So we're going to do a little bit of circle work. And I want you to go ahead and draw a circle. And if you don't have pen and paper, that's fine. Just draw it in your mind. But if you do have pen and paper, like draw a circle and just put the benefits of creative habits. And I want you to close your eyes and step into this circle. We're not going to stay in here for too long, but I want you just to feel what are the benefits of creative habits. Close your eyes, step into that circle. What are the benefits of replacing your dysfunctional habits with creative habits? Maybe you feel more connected to genius. Creating loads of magic. Living your end result. Now come back and let me know, what was it like being in that circle? What were the benefits for you being in your creative habits? When you had replaced your dysfunctional habits with creative habits, what was it like being in that circle? Maybe you're more connected into your intuition. Maybe your energy is really focused, expanded, powerful, fun, thrilling, exciting, flow. So much more love and appreciation. Nice. Ease, flow, expansive, beautiful. Now I invite you to draw a circle, empowering more energy, more motivation, connected with my higher self, so much more focused. Beautiful. So now I want you to draw a circle and have the consequences of not developing creative habits. Consequences of not developing creative habits. Now step into that circle and just, as it comes, like write down, or just be in it, and you can write down or whatever, what that's like. What are the consequences when you're not developing creative habits? How are you suffering? What does it feel like? What does it look like for you? How are you showing up? And when you get an essence of what that's like, just come back and just write in the chat box. Let me know. What's it like being in that circle? Heavy, stuck in the mud, helpless. Yeah, feels like crap, hey? Don't want to be there. Powerless. You know, it's like, yeah, not pleasant, heavy, horrible. It's like being, really at the mercy of who you think you need to be rather than who you are, right? And identifying, like experiencing lack, identifying as a victim, being in oscillation, in and out of magic. You see, you don't need to be perfect, you just need to be consistent. So let's not just know this or even know it and just do it. Let's create a habit. Create a habit. You know, it really should be a habit to take on responsibility for what we are creating, because we are responsible. We are responsible. So we want to take on that responsibility. And so a good thing to ask yourself, why am I creating this? If things are not, going the way you planned, why am I creating this? Looking at it in the way of, why am I making it mean this or that? Like, why am I making it mean something that it's not? Why am I creating this feeling? Why am I doing this? Why am I going down this rabbit hole and getting sucked into it? You see, we get to check in, don't we? Remembering, buy in. We're either buying into it, circumstance, current reality, the thing, or we're checking in. And so we can check in at the door, and you choose what you allow in. And you choose what you close the door on. It reminds me, I was brought up on a farm, and like with the sheep, you used to like get them coming down a race, and you would, I can't even think of the word right now, but you'd have this gate, and they'd either go into to that pen or that pen, and you check in the sorter. Is that what it is? I can't remember the name that we used to. There's a name anyway, but yeah, it's like you open the door, close the door, you choose. It's just the funny stuff that pops into my mind. I thought I'd share. Drafting. That's it. Drafting. Thank you so much. Drafting. That was the word. I was like, I know that word. So we really can be wasting an enormous amount of energy buying into the shit. And not only do we buy into it, we entertain it. We engage in it, we give it energy, we let it live in us. So we check in, we don't buy in. See, there's a difference between withdrawing our energy from our dysfunctional habits, right? There's a difference between withdrawing it, like it will stop the dysfunctional behavior and habits, but it's not enough, as a creator to just do that. We need to put the energy somewhere, don't we? We need to put the energy into our creative habits. So I want that to really land. There's a difference between withdrawing our energy from our dysfunctional habits But it's not enough as a creator. We need to put our energy into creative habits. Because we can still withdraw and then still do nothing. Really understanding this, this is in your highest good. And why wouldn't we want our highest good? Because I know for a fact too that resistance, any form of resistance, is not stronger. It is not more powerful than our spirit, than our soul. It's not. So I invite you all to set a very clear intention to live according to your true nature and purpose. To live according to the truth of your vision. Live according to what's true in your heart. Live according to an elevated, limitless life, because that is your truth. Live and receive your highest good. Receive your highest good and contribute to the highest good of all. This is why we're here. We all have our own innate wisdom, talents, gifts. And we're here to share them, to make an impact, to help people. Because how good does it feel when we get to do that, when we get to inspire someone, help them? And it doesn't matter whether we're helping them with finance, or we're cutting their hair, or we're coaching them in the creative development world, or we're building a house for them. We all have our own unique superpowers. All of us. Again, I was actually talking to Ange yesterday about, we have our own unique superpowers, and when it's our superpower, sometimes we don't we might be surprised by the feedback that we get. Someone's like, oh my god, that was amazing, that was so good, and you're like, oh, I thought I just kind of said just a basic sentence. But we all have our own unique superpower, and we want to get that out into the world. Hey, so set the intention to live according to the truth of who you are, the desired reality that you choose, and really anchor in these creative habits, because everything is a habit, and it's either a habit that serves us or a habit that doesn't. So my friends, that concludes today's masterclass. We did go a little bit over time, but there was a lot in there. There was a lot in there. So I'd love to hear some shares before we jump off. What's really landed for you, or what your experience was for today. That was gold on gold. Amazing. Thank you. Super helpful. Good. Good, good, good. You're welcome. Perfect timing. I love it. 6 pages of writing. Oh my goodness. I'm just gonna grab some social media content and screenshot these. Don't worry, I'll take your names out. But that'll be a good little thing so people know what they're missing out on, because they're not part of Conscious Creator Academy, right? They're missing out on all the good stuff. Yeah, I will go outside and ground myself and process it. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. I love it. All right, beautiful souls. Enjoy the rest of your day. Some of you I will see shortly on Chats and Connection. Otherwise, I do hope to see you. I do hope to see you on lenses for sure, for sure. Have the most amazing day. Choose it, set the intention, and and really commit to building your creative habits. Love you all. See you next time. Bye.